So with Surgeon Sparks out tomorrow, at least for most people, it seems like every TikTok creator's got the set already. But I wanted to kind of share with you, should you open it or should you keep it for investments? Because we have not really seen sets do too crazy across the whole Scarlet and Violet era at the moment. 151 was an anomaly, to be honest. I think anything that pulls on the nostalgic heartstrings of what Pokemon is always going to do well. Celebrations was going to do well. Obviously, then we look at 151 was always going to do well. Anything along them, like for instance X and Y's evolutions, of course they are going to do incredible. We knew that from the get-go. Surgeon Sparks has definitely lifted a little bit of light. Now, we knew that we were leaked as such the Pokemon Rocket, that coming next year. We're obviously going to get a Gym Heroes one, and then we've had the Prismatic Evolutions as well that has gone nuts. So this was kind of already happening prior to the actual value of Surgeon Sparks, to be honest, because we got all this information. We already knew about the Rockets and obviously Gym Heroes, but we don't know anything about it yet. It's not been leaked, it's not been any pack arts, we've just seen a teaser trailer sort of thing for it. So this is kind of on its own merit. Now, when you do look at a lot of these Surgeon Sparks stuff, it is very good. Pikachu is a hallmark of Pokemon. Of course it is. Now, like anything, especially in an English set, we always get to see the previous version anyway. So we've had all of the time to see the Super Electric Breaker. Obviously, if you've not been aware of this, you're kind of just looking at it now. Predominantly, you're looking at the special arts, obviously. This Pikachu is the one. That's the one. To be honest, that's literally how you put it. But there is a lot of good value cards around it. You've got the multiple couple of Pikachus. Hydrogen's obviously in it. You've got a few nice arts. Obviously, when we're looking at Mesprit, you're looking at Larvesta. They kind of, just the arts in general are quite nice. To be honest though, it is predominantly all about this Pikachu, really. Like that is the kind of big one. As I said, I don't think we've had anything on the English set yet. But when you do come over to the full booster box of it, you can see that, to be honest, before pre-launch, we're actually at a really high value in comparison to everything else. If you've been on Temporal Forces, Obsidian, Paradox Rift, they've all been kind of in English pounds, been around about the 90, maybe really, really low 80s after launch, but like we're looking at 90 to maybe £105, which I think is roughly around about $120 to $130, I'm pretty sure. I'm 99% sure of that. We'll have a little Google at the same time, but realistically, say we say £105 into dollars, that's $135 in that value, which, to be honest, when we look at it, it's kind of done the same. With a pre-launch, you've obviously seen 115 as the kind of lowest we've seen it, and yet normally you kind of rise a little bit to like the 130 to 140 on, well, before launch, because all of this is pre-order. There's no launch yet. We've not had it as of yet officially. Now, obviously, some TikTokers have either sold it or at least opened it up ready to sell it as such. So technically, people shouldn't have it really, but this is prior to actually it coming out, and now we're at the $160 mark, which in terms of pounds, obviously, if you're converting that, is about 123. Now, when we look at this, realistically, if you've looked at any Scarlet and Violet set, that's pretty much what they're kind of at, to be honest. They are at that, like, normally 130 to maybe 140 on launch. Then we normally see a dip. We then see it potentially go up maybe 2 or 3 months later. So the question is now is, do you open it? Now, obviously, if we look at something like Evolving Skies, for instance, just to see what happened there at the start, because this is kind of a big set. It's going to be more than a year, in fact. If we go for what has been less than a year that has done at least semi-decent, Crown Zenith didn't have any boxes. I don't think Silver Tempest would be the greatest example, but we can at least see where a normal set would have kind of gone. If we go for the booster box, we're at 174 at the moment. Is that a year? Was that longer than a year as well? Wow. So let's go then. We'll go Obsidian Flames, just because everything seems to be more than a year, and I don't know how you change it to more than that. Obsidian Flames, let's try this then. So at 128, and this is what I mean, most of the Scarlet and Violet boxes just really didn't do that much. November 7th is... There's no way that's been a year as well. Are we absolutely... Am I off my rocker that all of these have been over a year? It doesn't feel that long, to be honest. Paradox Rift, there is no way that this can be over a year. Where's the booster box? I've lost it. There it is. 126. We'll go 1 year. Did that? No, you're kidding me. When? If it's me, released on November 3rd. Okay, so we are close enough. Wow, them sets just fly out. So the next one would have been, we'll go Temporal Forces, because obviously with Paradigm Fates, it is a set that doesn't have, I have spelt that wrong. It's still got it. That set hasn't got booster boxes, so I'm mainly looking at this product and we'll kind of go from there. So if we kind of look at it, you can see straight off the bat, 140, which is what I said. On launch, that's normally where we're at. And I think this absolutely launched on the 22nd of March. So to be honest, that's a very long pre-order, to be honest. Like that is a considerable amount of time to say it didn't come out until this week, March 22nd, where it was at $104. That is coming in at what? $100 into pounds is about £80. So we already saw that the set itself didn't do very well. And then obviously from there we see the full down. We're at 104. We drop a little bit. We then come up slightly. Like we knew that this set is not necessarily going to go too crazy. But as you can see, as we've now got over like the April, May, June, July, August, September, October, the 7th month mark of it being out, it's slightly climbing back up. Nothing too crazy. Like if you look in the next 6 months, we've kind of had that low periods of up and downs. You could have pretty much got it for around about $75 to $103, so pounds to dollars there. Obviously then we're looking at 120, so we're starting to make that way back up. And obviously products like this eventually will make a little bit of margin rooms. Now, with sets like this, especially in the Scarlet and Violet era, I'd suggest that it's going to be a fair few years. Some products, you could either snap it, done, beautiful, it's out there. We see something like 151, you could have easily done it. Like we look at the pricing of that. I don't know if 151 is just going to work here. If you look at, for instance, something like the booster bundles, for instance, if we have a look at this from the whole year, you can see straight off the bat, like this set came out on, when did this come out on? 151, the 22nd of September, so we're 2 months after it's out. Obviously it is the full box anyway, so they're normally at a pretty decent value. We dropped down a little bit. We got 34 sold allegedly. It'd be a very interesting one, but you can see the climb already. Like we're looking at a very decent profit intake on that. Now obviously with this personally, you're not taking much of a value, a risk of value, to be honest. We know this was always going to do well. It's a safe bet, in my opinion. And to be honest, it's the same. Bringing it back around to Surgeon Sparks, I think that is going to be a safe bet as well. What I would suggest with this is we are going to have a pretty expensive high launch here now. We then, I'd imagine in the first week or two, to see a bit of a dip, probably down to the 130 at the lowest, 140. Maybe 140 to 150, I'd say. Anything that you can find like 130 and below, I personally would just pick up, because then I think after the next 2-3 months, this is going to pick up even more, in my opinion. I think it's a very good set. It seems to be very hard to get a lot of the pulls, and in general, there's the hype building on it. And the one thing, if you're kind of ever into the distribution of this, I've not really seen that much being printed, to be honest. Now obviously reprints happen, products happen, they could be waiting on a lot of stuff. It's not just the start anymore. You've got a month in, 5 months in, even a year in. We've now got reprints of 151. Whether that is going to be the norm, probably not. But there is so much time to get reprints in. If you're looking for a quick investment, I'd be looking at that first week and shipping off in 2 months. If you're looking for a really long investment, you can buy it in that week, but expect to hold it for a decent amount of time. And this set will naturally do well. TikTok sellers, live streamers, so TikTok, Whatnot, I think is the next big platform. People need the boxes, and if the boxes are not readily available, they are going to need to pay elsewhere. So if you've got them boxes and you want to sell them within the first kind of like 3 months, 4 months, they are going to still be wanted by a lot of people. The demand will always be there at this point. So if you are looking to open or keep it weighted. Personally for me, I always go with the rule of if you are collecting everything like myself, I like to open one at the minimum, see where the damage is, see what I managed to get, how many special arts, how many just in general do I need for the common set, and then anything else I will normally hold because I'm quite happy to just go and buy the rest of the set, but I like to open at least one for myself, especially at this sort of value. If I was looking at, for instance, Evolving Skies and get into it, probably wouldn't open the bucks, but with this, I'd open at least one and then save the rest. But realistically, if you are looking for value, I would say hold it because I do think the value is going to go up on this. It's a very, very good set. But let me know, how many products of this have you got, have you ordered, or have you actually opened already? And let me know what you've got. Peace.